Imagine a prison sprawling across thousands of acres, where escape is impossible and danger lurks at every corner. The story unfolds thousands of years in the future, after humans have abandoned Earth to settle on various planets. While some of these new worlds are hospitable, others are home to strange and deadly creatures that threaten human life. In this universe, a single government rules over everything. We focus on a planet called Titanium, where a city has been established, complete with a system that monitors every move of its inhabitants. Here we meet Christy, a prisoner in this harsh environment. Soon, 10 prisoners are let out of the city. Instead of a death sentence, their punishment is exile. They're thrown into the wild, where terrifying creatures await, ready to attack at any chance. This place is often referred to as an open prison, and the escapees find themselves facing the daunting task of reaching Paradise Islands, a destination that no one has ever successfully reached. Well then, Captain takes the prisoners to the city's edge, where an invisible security shield stands. As he removes the shield, he uncovers an iron box containing their essential belongings. They have 1 hour to leave, otherwise the guards will shoot them. Panic ensues as one woman begins to run around frantically, but Christy manages to calm her down. Then, a prisoner named Wolf speaks up. He wants to know more about everyone and aims to become their leader, claiming he has experience from a previous ordeal. Just as he tries to assert himself, a deadly insect called Pegan suddenly emerges from the ground, snatching its prey before disappearing again. Christy decided she wanted to team up with Erwin instead of Wolf. Erwin suggested they open the box and share the supplies, but when they did, everyone broke down on that box. Erwin only got a knife. He insisted that everyone should get their fair share. But Wolf's partner lunged at Christy. Quick to react, Erwin grabbed him by the neck, warning the group that fighting with each other would lead to serious consequences. Eventually, Wolf agreed to let them divide the supplies. Instead of distributing food, Erwin asked for the empty box, which Wolf surprisingly accepted. Just then, a voice echoed from the palace, demanding the prisoners be evacuated immediately. Wolf led his group forward while Erwin and Christy tied the heavy box to their waists and set off. Suddenly, they were ambushed by palace guards and everyone ducked behind the rocks. Erwin quickly realized this attack was aimed specifically at him. He told Christy to crawl with him, and they soon reached a safer spot where they noticed Wolf's team was following closely behind. Curious, Christy asked Erwin if Paradise Island was real. Erwin responded that if it weren't, the government wouldn't be so determined to kill us. He was sure they wanted them dead before they could reach it. He admitted that this was his first time navigating this route, but he was confident he would succeed. Years earlier, Erwin had been an advisor to the president. Meanwhile, the new president was on the line with the captain, questioning how Erwin was still alive. The captain reassured him that no one had ever crossed the swamps. As they traveled, Christy and Erwin discovered a source of clean water. Christy washed her face, contemplating their uncertain future. Suddenly, Erwin whispered her to stay motionless. At first, she feared he might have wrong motives, but he had actually spotted the Pegan insect emerging from the ground. When Erwin confronted Creature, Christy found her courage and used the knife to kill the insect. Later, as she tended to Erwin's wounds, she shared a painful memory. An inspector had once tried to force himself on her, and when she refused, he unjustly sent her to jail. At that moment, Wolf's group arrived. Wolf wanted to reclaim the iron box, but Erwin, now armed with the insect's remains, turned it into a weapon. Realizing he couldn't compete with Erwin, Wolf chose to back off, letting them go while secretly following them. His plan was to let Erwin and Christy face the dangers of the swamp first, so his group could learn about the threats ahead. As they moved on, Erwin spotted more Pegans emerging from the ground. He warned Christy to lie down quietly. Just then, a swarm of Pegans attacked Wolf's group, dragging many prisoners underground. Meanwhile, the president was asking the captain about Erwin. The captain informed him that one of his best men was tracking Erwin. As night fell, Erwin and Christy found a spot to rest. Erwin was ready to reveal his true story, but Christy, exhausted, fell asleep. When she woke up, strange sounds filled the air. Thousands of insects were advancing toward them. In a panic, Christy ran, but Erwin quickly caught her and pushed her into the iron box, joining her inside. They lay still as the insects swarmed, though the lid of the box was damaged in the process. After the chaos subsided, Erwin emerged and placed the box aside. They continued on, soon reaching the edge of the swamp. Wolf's group was still on their trail. A girl named Layla sensed that Erwin and Christie might be able to survive, so she tried to catch up with them. When Layla hurried forward, Wolf tried to stop her, but ended up getting stuck in the swamp himself. Layla shouted to everyone that Erwin was the former advisor to the president and knew how to navigate this place. Later, a prisoner named Jan managed to pull Wolf free, but as night fell again, Erwin and Christie settled down. Erwin fed her raw frogs, then confessed his past. He had been an advisor to the president, but when he uncovered the system's dark secrets, he decided to expose the truth to the public. Unable to eliminate him directly, the government had sent him to the swamps to die. However, before his exile, Erwin had implanted a virus within their system to fight back. Erwin revealed that a new system was locked with a special code that only he knew. Soon the system would fail. No weapons or cameras would work, allowing people to create a new system of their own. Christie, concerned, said the government would surely come after him once they figured it out. But Erwin was confident he would escape before that happened. Meanwhile, in the city, the government system began to shut down, starting with the communication satellites. The next morning, Layla and the other prisoners who had left Wolf's group encountered some wild people in the way. When their screams reached Christie, she broke down in tears, cursing the cruel punishment they faced. Unbeknownst to her, it was Erwin's idea to spare their lives, leaving them exposed instead of executing them. This angered Christie even more, and she yelled at Erwin in frustration. Back with Wolf, he was hiding behind some stones. When he emerged, Layla informed him that she had been offered a deal to kill Erwin, promising a government helicopter would come for her afterward. A sinister idea formed in Wolf's mind. If Layla could get that deal, maybe he could too if he killed her first. However, Layla soon ran away, only to get caught in a deadly spider's web in the swamp, where she met a gruesome end. When Captain learned of Layla's demise, he sent Sergeant Mattis and his team on a mission to eliminate Erwin. Meanwhile, another member of Wolf's group was killed as well in a trap. Jan, another prisoner, approached Erwin and Christie under false pretenses, leading them straight into Wolf's trap. Wolf quickly bound Erwin and intended to kill him, hoping the government would reward him for it. With no options left, Erwin urged Christie to escape, but in a moment of defiance, she kissed him. Wolf, frustrated, ordered Erwin to get up. When Erwin refused, Wolf had no choice but to carry him on his back as they moved forward. They soon arrived at a hideout where Sergeant Mattis and his team of ruthless criminals had taken refuge in the remnants of an old jail. Wolf took Erwin and Christie to a secluded spot before heading off to handle business with Sergeant Mattis. But during their conversation, Erwin managed to escape. Worried, Wolf quickly tried to reassure the sergeant, saying, "Don't worry, I'll find him." However, the sergeant, already furious, shot Wolf in anger. Afterward, the sergeant tracked down Christie and her companion Jan. Without hesitation, he killed Jan and took Christie into custody. Erwin soon reappeared and confronted the sergeant, pleading with him to let Christie go. In exchange, Erwin promised to surrender himself. The sergeant agreed and released Christie, but just as he did, he turned and struck her with a tranquilizer, rendering her unconscious. Suddenly, Wolf, who had somehow survived, appeared from behind and fatally attacked the sergeant, bringing the standoff to a close. Wolf was counting his last breaths, but he wasn't going to miss his chance for revenge on the sergeant. After he had dealt the final blow, Erwin thanked Wolf, who in return gave him advice. Don't waste time searching for Paradise Island. It doesn't exist. With that last piece of advice, Wolf passed away. Later, we see Erwin carrying Christie toward the sea, realizing that crossing it might be the only way to reach Paradise Island. Determined, he gathered plants and built a makeshift raft. Meanwhile, the captain, unable to contact the sergeant, understood that searching for his advisor was pointless. Still, he sent one final drone after Erwin. When Christie regained consciousness, she noticed that their tiny island of plants was slowly sinking. Hearing this, Joe, a fellow prisoner, selflessly jumped into the water to reduce the weight and give Erwin and Christie a better chance of survival. Just then, they spotted the drone approaching and thought it was over. But before it could reach them, it malfunctioned and crashed into the sea. Erwin's virus had finally spread through the system, giving him hope that the people would soon be freed from the corrupt government's control. But their relief was short-lived. Suddenly, they realized they were drifting fast toward a waterfall. They held on tightly to their floating island, miraculously surviving the fall. At last they reached the shore, where an intelligence bunker built for the president stood. Irwin recognized it as his own work, but there was a problem. Only the president knew the final digit of the code to open it. With just 2 attempts allowed, guessing was risky. Thinking like the president, Irwin took a calculated risk, entered the code, and the door unlocked. Inside, they found a spaceship, but it had only 1 seat. Irwin urged Christie to go, but she refused, her newfound love for him too strong to leave him behind. Together, they managed to squeeze into the spaceship. As they left the planet, they headed for Earth, where they shared the whole truth with the authorities. Hopefully, their bravery will lead to a brighter future for their world. And here our story ends. If you liked the movie story, then don't forget to subscribe. And also share your opinion about the movie in comment section. Thanks for watching.